What I want to do is spend a little time looking a little bit backwards, currently, and forward in terms of thinking about your industry. And interesting enough, your industry is our industry, which I did not know that till this morning. So let's see if we can agree that we're in the same business. We approach it a very different way. You've been around a little bit longer than we have been around. But I think you're going to see we're sisters in a common marketplace that is redefining itself. And again, I didn't know that to this morning's conversation. So we're going to talk about our me past. I'd like you all to stand up for a second and see what the me past looks like. And what I want you to do for a second is I want you to introduce yourself to the person next to you. But I want to give you the rules of engagement. Wait, I want to give you the rules of engagement. Simple rules. Now, you have 90,000 customers here going to 120,000 customers, 20 million, well, if I understand this correct, users. I want you to introduce yourself to the person next door to you at the same level of information you currently have on those people. Let me tell you what those rules look like. You don't know their names. You don't know where they work. I presume this is all true. You know nothing about those 20 million people. Think about it like me today, flying today for 6 hours to Los Angeles to give this exact same presentation tomorrow to two other massive organizations. And I'm not going to say a single word to any of those people next to me for the next 6 hours. Say hello to the person next to you as if you don't know who they are and you don't care. No cheating. No cheating here. Because if you really did care, you would know the names of the 90,000 people. And you know, you can't use my wife's rule either, Barry. This is really your brother and your sister. You don't need to write their name on your hand here. You really need to know who they are. So now try this again. Say hello to the person next door as if they don't matter. You're doing a good job. You get the point here, right? You know, this is really true. It's about business. I know business is you all can sit down. I know business is perfect job. You did it perfectly. I know businesses always say they're customer-centric. They really care about their customers. They know their customers. I mean, yada, 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 as my kids say. But the proof is in the pudding, right? I've never met a business that knows any of their customers' names. It's the most amazing thing. And I come out of a company called McKinsey, then the Hancock, where I was a board member, then Accenture and Anderson was a board member, and we never knew a single customer's name. But we were customer-centric. It's like saying I'm my wife-centric. I just don't remember her name, that's all. Anybody know her name? How about my kids' names? Anybody know my kids' names? Good, neither do I. Okay. But I care about them, supposedly. I just don't know their names. It's an interesting thesis. So, I don't think the world of me works. And the world of me is very simple. It's where I matter. I'm really important. I am, for all you guys, you may not know it, I am the best husband, the best father, the best son. I'm the best guy in the world. You know why? Because according to me, I know I'm the best guy. No one else cares. I'm the best customer. I'm the best company. I'm me. I don't think it works. Because my wife might say, you know, Barry, I don't know. You don't remember my name most days. You don't remember my birthday. You know, I'm not so sure you're the best husband. My kids might say, you don't know where I'm going to college. I mean, that's a sort of cool thing. But I don't think me works in a world in which we are connected. I don't think it works. So I want to give you a simple reason why me doesn't work.
When I grow up, I want to file all day.
I want to claw my way up to middle management, be replaced on a whim. I want to have a brown nose.
I want to be a yes man.
Yes, woman. Yes, sir. Coming, sir.
Anything for a raise, sir.
When I grow up,
I want to be underappreciated.
be paid less for doing the same job.
I want to be forced into early retirement.
Now, I know you think that's all cool, but you know, one day I'm going to grow up to be 54 and white. Ha! Gee, look at that. It's happened to me. And when I go up to be 54 and white, I'll become a stupid white man. Now, how do I know that I'm going to be a stupid white man? I'll become a member of a board. I'll make a lot of money. I'll forget everybody else's name, including my family again. And then I'll forget that maybe I'll be put into early retirement. I never thought this would happen to me, but it's happening. And businesses would not ever believe that people, as they got older, would have extraordinary relationships, extraordinary knowledge, and extraordinary insights. But for lots of reasons, we just lost our way as business people, as humans in this journey. Sort of sad. So my favorite example of me, and you all know him, I mean, he's my favorite me character. And his favorite words are? Yeah, of course. There you go. I mean, he's the me man of all society. I mean, we revere him. He has his own show called The Apprentice. It's really sort of very cool, right? This is the world of me. So let's see if we can leave me behind for a second. Let's journey into the world of we. Okay? And what I think is cool is that I heard this morning some simple things this morning about what I call is your massive opportunity, amazing opportunity, how you can transition from the world of me to the world of we. And so I want to make sure we start with show me the money. But you notice I changed it, show we the money. Now it's an important distinction between show me the money and show we the money. And I want to show you the distinction. Because if you think about it for a second, show me the money starts with a basic tenet, which is the why was institutional text. We all know, remember the companies I came from, McKinsey & Company, Hancock, Accenture, Anderson, I mean, those were worlds of me. And we produced content, and we charged for content. And that content was text-based content. It's interesting. My kids don't use it, but it's interesting anyway. And then you think about for a second, the world changed. You guys did this presentation this morning. The what began to change. Not just the why, that the world that we knew was changing, the world of the what was changing. Which was we were looking for multiple forms of content because, and here's the cool thing about we all learn in different ways. You know, we don't learn the same way. Some of us are listeners, some of us are hearers, some of us are, are guys who don't listen or hear at all. So, there's some examples of that stuff. And so what happens is we start listening and hearing, and smart businesses start delivering content in multiple forms because they don't see us anymore as a single human being, a customer. They see us as an individual. It's very different. Customers have no names. If you didn't think that was true, then you would tell me all the names of all your customers. Individuals have names. And then what really happens, and what's really cool, is who changes. I mean, this is really very cool. It's all of us. All of us are publishers. So we have two interesting sort of partners, something called WordPress, which I try to explain to Pearson and all of my clients, is that Pearson has a competitor. It's called WordPress. The only difference is WordPress is today's Pearson. WordPress lets everybody publish content. Pearson says only the certain people I know can publish content. Now you're going to ask yourself a question, which is a faster growing business? So I didn't know we were sisters, our two firms, in this process. Why do I think we work? Now I started this business in 2001, and there was nobody who thought that this would ever happen. That essentially adults would want to share information, create information, exchange information, consume information. They thought that was all about kids. It was 2001. Luckily, Rupert Murdoch in 2005 buys a little company, it's only 2005, 3 years ago now, for $580 million, buys a little company called MySpace, and every one of my clients say, what the heck, who the heck cares about that company? User-generated content by a bunch of kids sharing information, who cares? And luckily, again, for our little company, another little company gets invested in called Facebook. And what happens is adults, for the first time, read me content. Me content is Business Week, Fortune, Forbes, all of our clients. And those people publish stories in a me format, published format, about the changing dimensions of content. It says blogs will change your business forever. That's November 2005. And then Time Magazine produces an article called You Are the Person of the Year in 2006. And so adults, when they read magazines, if they do, and they read stuff, they realize something's going on here. Content's moving from me to you. What the heck does that mean for my business? So why do I think we're sisters in this journey? Because we're the largest provider of user-generated content in Mazinga on the business side. We have 57 million publishers. Remember, we're not kids-based Mazinga. We are adult-based, user-generated content for all the brands you aspire to work with, and are many of your existing clients. I didn't know that till this morning. 57 million users. We manage 14,000 adult communities. This is, everything from cookbooks to Sports Illustrated. You name it, from Kentucky Derby to Belmont Stakes to MTV, you mean Goldman Sachs, Marsh Mac, Deutsche Post, Deutsche Telekom, you name them, they're our clients. 14,000 adult communities with 57 million users. And what's cool is we have 165 of these global clients that use our total solutions, 300 total clients that use all of our solutions, and they're posting 1.4 billion new pieces of content a month. And we have no licensing solution. Yeah, excuse me. I'm trying desperately to help we had lunch with Miles. He spent the whole time drooling. I mean, I was really impressed. It's rare to see an adult male drool, but that was very cool. You know, because our clients are all asking how we monetize this content for them. Because they say, wow, our content on the user side is growing faster than the content on the traditional side, on the me side. Barry, help us out. And we say, well, we don't have a solution. Miles says, I got it. Show we the money. I have to change it from me to we for him. He has to leave this one. We'll use we. So, you know our clients. I mean, you know all of our clients. They're all probably all of your clients. They're probably a perfect match. But we do the user-generated side for them. Now, what's the takeaways from today's conversation? One, I want to leave you with some thoughts about what is we. You've already experienced it. It's about you and me, not me, the institution. Because I think the institution's giving way, and this is really powerful to us. Us as customers, us to employees, us to prospects, us to investors. It is losing its way. People don't realize the organization was created 200 years ago to reduce transaction costs. It's the only reason organizations were created, to reduce transaction costs so they could put capital together to allow people to come to work. I think the internet does that better than organizations do. Two, what are the benefits of we? Why are we, the users of today's organizations, content, institutional capabilities, why are we the future of all organizations? What's called the network-based business versus the firm-based business. Why is Linux? Why is MySQL overtaking things like Microsoft? Anybody use Microsoft here? Anybody have any problems with their desktop, including Vista? You know, you wonder how fun thank you very much. 46,000 people can't get it right. But MySQL has 100,000 people coding. Linux has hundreds of thousands of people coding. You got to ask me a question. You think 46,000 people are smarter than hundreds of thousands of coders? Just the law of numbers says we are smarter than me, suggests users, when combined in a network effect, produce better outcomes than firms do. And then how does this company, how does your company start doing, thank you very much for setting me up, gentlemen, and thank you very much for the opening presentation. Because Tracy used we, which is very cool. These guys said, here's the future of we. Very, very cool. And you have your current business, which is me-based, which you need. You really do need your existing revenue source to power your we-based business. Without your me-based business, there is no we-based business, because institutions aren't jumping overnight into we-based businesses. They're crawling into it, but they're crawling fast now. So you need your me-based business to be successful. You need your financials to be hit as you move into your we-based business and take new risks. And what are the benefits and how do you get started? So the definition of we. We is what's called a network-based business model, where you are leveraging the power of the network to create collective capabilities and collective communications and collective content. So think about if we're here a year from now. Tracy gets up and she says, we are defined by 20 million users registered. They're all using us today. 90,000 companies. And we're only penetrating next year 2% of them, 5% of them, 10% of them. Just think about the power of your organization. And assume that 5 or 10% of them are now contributing content that you're licensing or protecting or monetizing or copywriting. Think about the power of you creating that platform. You still have your me-based business, but think about the power of all those people interacting. You'd be unstoppable, and your cost of business would go down, because you'd be letting go human endeavor. You'd be letting humans have a voice. And this is what's so cool about today's world. This is the first time in eternity, when humans will have a voice. You may not believe it, but it is the first time in eternity where all of us will have a voice. It's got organizations, governments, and institutions frightened. They're not stupid. Giving people a voice makes people nervous. Now, I think it's profoundly human. I think it's an amazing journey, and I'm profoundly excited about it. But I also accept the fact that my peer group, men in their 50s and 60s, are nervous about giving people a voice. And so I have to accept the thesis that as many years I've been working on this, it is coming, but you have to go slow. So let's do a simple test. I want to talk to you. You've got a test. I just want to talk to you about what the attributes of a we-based company are. And then we're going to take a test today. The attributes of a we-based company are 5. First, they are socially connected. So if you believe that the way to be relevant is to be social, I tell personal stories on purpose because I come here for the whole day so I can understand who you are. It's cool to understand people for the first time because we're allowed to for the first time. Being socially connected is important. Second is co-creative. Linux is a co-creative environment. Facebook is a co-creative environment. MySpace is a co-creative environment. When you are co-creating products with somebody else, you feel, the way Tracy said this morning, you feel as if you own the outcome. In a me-based business, I tell you what to do and do it well. Open. If you haven't figured it out, everybody knows me. My wife calls me WBDL. It's my initials, BDL with a letter from the radio stations in front of it, WBDL. I tell everything all the time. I don't do it because I really want to share everything, but it's the only way to make a point that this is the way that our leaders have to communicate. If we are not going to be authentic and open as leaders, as organizations, we should expect nothing less of employees, customers, investors, partners. If we're not going to be authentic and personal and accept our foibles, we should expect nothing less. There's some really basic rules of thumb. To prove this, I've learned 3 things in business to make sure that people know why not to be open. The first is take no risks. We heard this morning about take risks. I have a speaker for Bill called TakeRisk.com. Great speaker. Take no risks is the first lesson I learned in business over the last 30 years. Take no risks. The second lesson I learned is keep your head down. Just do your job. And my third rule, absolutely the best rule I've learned in business, is all good deeds go fully punished. That's absolute truth. All good deeds go fully punished. So I thought, okay, gee, if that's the way I've been taught by my 3 institutional companies, I might also try the opposite side. Reward everybody who takes a risk, because that's the only way to get people to do something dramatically different. Be completely authentic and open all the time, and tell personal stories so you know where my issues are, my opportunities are, so you know this is possible for you. Fourth, reward systems. Reward systems are about rewarding anybody and everybody in an organization, and in your organization includes 20 million people and 90,000 enterprises. It is not just 230 or 50 people here. It is everybody. It's rating systems, reputational systems, compensation systems, rewarding people who help you achieve your goals. It is not limited to this room. And fifth, remember I told you all guys, I'm the best guy in the world? Well, that's according to me. In a we-based world, everybody else evaluates me. They rate me. They rank me. They tell me whether or not I know what I'm doing or not, and I'm okay with it for the first time because I accept the fact from your criticisms I might grow as a human being. I'm not defensive about it. It's okay. So let's just talk about examples of case studies to make sure you know these things are happening. We are social. So the first case study, which is a really simple one, which I like, is one of our small customers. Who watches this show besides my wife and myself? Hands up. Thank you very much. This is one of our shows. This is one of our customers. Fox is one of our clients. And obviously, 20 million people get together, and they basically observe and comment on this show. A lot of creative content. But what's really cool about it is if you watch the show, 20 million people have a new idea about a product and service, not the American Squid Guild. Co-creative. This is where your consumers, your prospects, your employees, your partners, you don't care who, co-create the product with you. So here's Hallmark, one of our clients as well. This is an idea, right? This is very cool. They realize people get sick, people are in love, people want to graduate, all those things. And, you know, I could do this. You know, I do this. Not to tell you that women, if you don't have this happen with your husbands, I'm sure it's true, like me. You know, it's on Mother's Day. My youngest son and I go down to the local drugstore, which is barely open at 8. It's literally on Mother's Day. There's no cards left. I have to get her a well wishes card card, when she gets healthy again. And I have to scribble some things out because it's last minute. None of you guys have ever done this stuff, right? This is just me and my youngest son, right? And my oldest son says he had no time to get a card, so he sends her an email. I know none of this ever happens to any of you guys. Well, Hallmark had an idea. Let people create their own cards. And then let them sell it and sell it on behalf of each other, to each other. Let them monetize it in tons of different ways, because I would prefer to write a card for my wife. It's my words. I mean, the person who wrote the card for me doesn't write a word card to Ellen in my words. He or she wrote it in their words. Open. Innocentive is a company right here, talking about innovation. Innocentive was a company started by Eli Lilly. You can do something similar. And this is 1999, and Eli Lilly had a problem. They wanted to grow faster than 5 or 10% a year. And they began to realize something most companies never realize, congratulations to them, that the greatest people in the world don't work for them. And in fact, it's impossible, unless you think you have all 6 billion employees. There's a good chance you don't, but you do have 20 million people who could work for you, which is a cool idea. So they realized, well, maybe the greatest brains in the world don't work for us, but some number or some percentage of them do. Let's open up, using the web, all tough problems to all great people. And all great people could be great at anything, from sending an email to creating a new drug therapy. So Innocentive, which is right here in Waltham, has the creative minds finding solutions to your biggest problems. 155,000 solvers in 175 countries, solving problems for 40 different companies. How cool is that? That essentially Eli Lilly's leadership had the insight to open up first their problems and then the world's problems to anybody that wanted to solve them. And the name Innocentive is because they're prize-based innovation, which is very, very cool. They pay anybody and everybody for the rewards that the companies that are subscribers generate. Rewarding. Who drinks Starbucks besides me? So Schultz has a little bit of a problem. He's pretty good at now piping in music, at a local bar where we spend all day long, sitting in nice couches. But that's not his business. His business is selling coffee. So he has some problems. He loses his way. Stock market doesn't like him, which is all of you people who are investors in this company. We don't like him anymore. We spend a lot of time in his physical assets, but he's not a landlord. He's in the coffee business. And so he starts losing revenue and market share. He opens up something called mystarbucks.com. So Aaron Stroud, who's sitting here with me, is head of our social media. So what happens, Aaron, for Starbucks, mystarbucks.com?
Starbucks had low expectations for this. They thought, well, maybe we'll get a few ideas, and ideally that will be a neat thing. We'll get some PR out of it. Within the first half hour, they had 300 ideas, 6,000 people signed up. By the end of the week, they had 100,000 people that had signed up. And in order to do this, they realized pretty quickly there's a lot of ideas that are going to come through the pipe. And if we don't manage those correctly, then people are going to get even more upset with us. So they hired 48 community managers, people that are dedicated to watching these ideas flow through their internet site so that they can manage them, triage them, and then vote them up or down. And they've already, I think, put in place a half dozen of these, one of which was people get tired of them printing out the receipts that we pick up and then throw in the trash immediately after. So one of the top ideas was stop killing so many trees. And so they said, okay, if it's a receipt for anything under $25, we'll ask you if you want your receipt. We won't print it out, we won't kill the tree. And that happened within the first month.
Think about that. He did that when he was in dire need of growth beyond 5%. Imagine if he'd done it a long time ago, how many people would have helped him. Now, what's really cool about it is and I know, they had no community professionals there until 2 months ago. In fact, what he probably thought a community professional was the person who went to the local town, says, I have to widen the road so I can put another Starbucks at the end next to the mall. I want to have a green light and a red light here. That was his view of community professionals. It was not, I'm going to run 20 million people and help them interact. And now he's got 47 or 48 full-time community professionals managing the Starbucks community. We're evaluative. So Amazon, we were the first people to write a book. We have to decide how. We have some books here for some people. We'll talk about it afterwards. We wrote a book. We didn't write a book. I didn't write the book. We are smarter than me. We had 5,000 people. It was Pearson's our publisher. Pearson's one of our clients. Pearson said, Barry, there's something really important here. Will you write a book? I said, I don't want to write any more books. It's my 5th book. I'm tired of writing the same book over and over again about the power of we. Let's let a community write a book. We put it out there, and 5,000 people signed up in the first month, and 5,000 people wrote this book. We benefits. Okay, let's talk about what we benefits do. We covered some of them today. We benefits are multiple, and they are hard. And what I would beg you all to do when you start thinking about your social media initiatives, your community initiatives, do not talk soft talk. Talk hard talk. Talk about the fact customers prefer user-generated content much more than they prefer institutional-generated content, that they are 54% more likely to return as a customer than if you don't. Now, let me prove this point. How many of you want to be heard? Let me do it the reverse. How many of you like not being heard? Okay, good. Well, that's the point. Not any of us. But however, if we are heard, which means companies that have community sites have 54% more loyal customers. No surprise. They are twice as likely to repurchase because they're being listened to. They pay a 24% higher purchase price. They pay more money because they know who wants to pay more. If someone said to you really in a store, I'm willing to give you exactly what you want, would you pay more or less? Who will pay more if I give you exactly what you want? You know, it's only businesses that don't get that, right? I'll give you exactly what you want, and you get 24%, we'll charge you more. And people go, sure, absolutely. And they purchase twice as often. Now, here's the most important reason. I love all of you. I really love this stuff if you haven't figured this out. I love this stuff because it's really about human endeavor, but I love these people more than I love all of you. This is my wife. Her name is Ellen. This is my 2 sons. It's called Michael and Adam. And let me tell you that the only constraint businesses have when it's all said and done is not innovation. It is not money. It is not resources. It is the ability to let human endeavor take place. There's no shortage of ideas. You have 20 million people. You think you're going to run out of ideas? Think you can't grow the business at 50% a year? That's just about having a new mental model about open. In fact, what you really have is a struggle. You'll have like Starbucks. You'll have to go, oh my God, I have so many great ideas. I have to think about what I want to do with this company. And so I want to spend more time with my family when it's all said and done. Now, for all of you golfers, who golfs here? That's what you can do with all of your spare time. You can go out and golf some more. So remember the Miles message. This is about money, loyalty, pricing power, frequency, and your families. It ain't anything more. This is not about anything other than common sense. About the fact if you talk to somebody and you listen to them and you let them have a voice, and I mean a meaningful voice, not that customers or customer-centric. We do a lot of work for GE. And like they say what GE says, we are terrible. Jack Welch was great at financial engineering, but our customers and our employees and every other organization we've ever met have no voice of the customer. It's not embedded in our products. I'm sure it's true here from what you told me this morning. It's not embedded in our products. It's not embedded in our activities. You can't find any examples of it. It's institutional in nature. Now, you wonder why I show this ad. Anybody know the history of this ad? Chevrolet was a me-based organization, and I'm going to personalize this. My family started a Chevrolet agency in a remote part of the United States of America in 1926. It was called Manhattan. And no one had ever heard of something called a car called a Chevrolet. Now, this is 1926. My grandfather started this business. Now, along the way, my family sold a lot of Chevrolets. Anybody drive Chevrolets here now? It's a terrible statement that just the four of you drive it. Terrible. Just for Chevrolet, it's terrible. In fact, you guys were the reason. I wish all of you kept buying Chevrolets because my family would still be in business. Chevrolet put my family almost into the brink of bankruptcy. Chevrolet had a 50% market share in the United States. 50% market share. Does GM have a 50% market share? No. Who's the largest car manufacturer in the world now? Toyota. You think my family, my mother who still runs the agency, you think she sells Chevrolets anymore? Think she would even know how to find a Chevrolet in Manhattan? BMW maybe, you know, or Mercedes-Benz. But the issue is Chevrolet never spoke to their customers. So about 4 years ago, Chevrolet said, we're going to become user-generated. We're going to be friendly to our customers. We're going to let them run an ad for us. 350 ads like this later, they took this ad program down. They began to realize people are really pissed at Chevrolet and not just my family. They were furious at Chevrolet. Chevrolet never listened to anybody. I mean, they were made up of white guys who produced steel. This is what happens when companies don't listen. They don't just get ads like this. They get run out of town. So I think you need to think about how are you going to go in your department from a me organization to in your department, either operationally, financially, business products. How are you going to move? If you've already moved, your company's already done a good job moving from me to E. You've done a very nice job moving here. You've figured out in many activities when I heard this morning how to move from a physical, inwardly focused organization to an E-based organization that improves your operational processes. You've done a really nice job. What you've not thought about is how to become a they-based organization. How do you engage groups of people on a recurring basis that keeps them involved in the activities that you are helping them with, in which you are helping them? And then how do you become a we-based organization? How do you virally let them engage with you all the time using a variety of technologies and capabilities? This is an easier move to make because I can still be all about me. This is a harder move to make, which is a they-based organization to begin to let people in your life. We is a very hard move to make. It is the most valuable business model. It is the most productive. It is the lowest cost of delivery. It is the most profitable because it relies on human interaction and endeavor. And I hate to say this, on self-interest. Because humans know it's in their best interest. And once they know it's in their best interest, they will act in the most productive ways. 3 rules for success. The first one, again, is why. And I want you to leave, when you leave the room again, which problem are you trying to solve with community and social initiatives? You can't be here next year without a discussion of your social initiatives. You can't be. Because you will have been left behind and somebody else will have joined this business for you. You will have lost ground to Creative Commons. And they're not the only ones playing in this game. You need to figure out which problem are you solving? What applications and services do you need? Drupal will not get you there. Services are critical. That's like me saying, sell me your application and forget about the content. You need the entire package in whatever you're doing to get there. Tools are just plumbing. Without hot water and cold water, you can't take a shower in the morning. And without plumbers to repair it, you know, there ain't no hot water. Services, software, and content, which is how I think about plumbing. It's the water, it's the physical infrastructure, and it's the people that make that happen in your household, that make it happen in business. And you need to think about which community you're serving. I only heard a little bit this morning, but you don't have one community here. You have multiple communities. You have end-user communities. You have publishing communities. You have new publisher communities. You have employee communities. You have you'd have to tell me. It's based, and you have to segment your customer communities. You have all those different, you have academic communities and institutional communities. Those are not one community. Those are not one community. you need to think about which communities, first you need to essentially do an asset evaluation, which communities you have, which ones are the low-hanging fruit, and which ones you want to start with. They're all going to be interested. It's a latent demand. It exists all over the place. But they are more ready than you are for this. If you didn't say that, raise your hand. How many of you use Facebook again to prove the point? They are more ready than you are. So you think which group you're going to power and for what purpose. And when it's all said and done, here's the holy grail for you guys. Anybody know what that ad is from? Super Bowl. Was it written by an advertising agency, a me-based organization? No. Those guys don't eat Doritos. They don't know where to find Doritos. They don't even go. They send somebody else to get Doritos. They send my kids out to get Doritos. They know nothing about Doritos. The customers know something about Doritos. And Doritos, this ad was won by the Super Bowl ad both this year and last year because it was done by the people who care. Who saw the article called The Power of Crowd this week on the cover of the Wall Street Journal that compared Obama and McCain? The story is about our times. It started in January this year when the people started covering the story. Is that, and I didn't know this statistically, that Obama is the, anybody ever joined My Barack? Anybody join My Barack? Thank you very much. What does My Barack look like? What is it? It's a social networking community. 17,000 people came out to Barack's ceremony of success. How many came to McCain's? 800 came. But here's the more powerful message for all of us who don't think that user-generated content's winning. Barack has rejected government-supported funding for the first time ever in a presidential election. And McCain is going to use it. McCain has no community support. So he's going to use government funds to run our election. He's going to use state funds. It means whether you vote for him or not, you're paying for McCain. Barack is going to use community capabilities. Because Barack is the first person who created a social network. And only Hillary, and only this spring, began to accept the thesis that her husband's approach to campaigning was no longer working for her, so she built a social network. Barack may not win, nor McCain. I don't even care. Remember, I'm a community guy. I don't really care who wins this. But what is happening is earth-shattering. User-generated funding is about to go toe-to-toe with US government funding. It's an amazing message about our times. So I'm going to ask you all to stand up again. I'm now going to ask you to introduce yourself to the person next to you as if they're your long-lost loved ones, as if you know who they are, as if a year from now they are part of your community. Thank you all very, very